Some programming languages call these records. Some call them structures. In C# they are called structures. The more common one is record, however, so that's what I will be calling them in this video. So what is a record? Similar to an array, it is a way of storing multiple variables under a single identifier. The big difference is that in an array, you can only store one variable type. If you wanted to store a different variable type, you would have to create a brand new array. A structure, on the other hand, can store multiple variables under one identifier. Let's give you an example. Here we have the FIFA Ultimate Team card for Lionel Messi. As we learnt in the arrays video, we don't want to create 11 separate variables for each value in our code. However, there is also a mixture of integers and strings, so we can't use an array. What we can do instead is create a record called player, and inside that structure we'll store 7 integer variables for each of these stats, a string variable for the name of the player, a string for his position, and a string for the country. In the code it may look like this. While this may not seem that much more efficient than creating separate variables, using records will allow us to organize our code more efficiently, and if combined with an array, we can do some very clever things with them. Let's look at how this is actually coded. I won't be creating a record with 11 values as that would take too long, so let's create this. Notice that I've created this structure outside of the main subroutine. Each variable I've also given an additional identifier called public. This is needed so that the main subroutine can access these variables. Let's create an employee variable now and add some data to it. As you can see here, I've created a variable called employee1. However, the variable type is not a string, not an integer. It is instead an employee, which is the name of the structure I have created above the main subroutine. An important thing to note is that our variable identifier can be called whatever you want. I've just decided to call it employee1. After that, I have added the data for the first name, the surname, phone extension, and age. By typing out the name of the identifier, a full stop, and then the name of the identifier in the structure. After that, it works exactly the same as any other variable. Outputting record works in a similar way. As you can see, I have output all values of this employee1 record by referring to the identifier, a full stop, and then the record identifier. You may remember that I said at the start of this video that we can combine records with an array. So let's do this now. In this example, I've created an array of employee records, which I've named employees. Again, I can call this variable whatever I like, but because this is an array of multiple items, I like to create my identifier as a plural. I've also created 2 elements to store our 2 employee records. To add data to each element and record, we simply refer to the identifier, then we use square brackets to tell us what element we would like to add data to, and then the identifier of the record we wish to add the data to. Running all this code will output as follows. Finally, let's tidy up the code a little by outputting using a for loop. Records will become super useful if you ever start coding with databases and wish to import the data from a database to a set of variables. You would simply match each field on a table to the identifier of a record, and import each field to its corresponding record identifier. But that would be for a later video. Practice your new skills by completing some of these challenges. If you can do all 3 challenges without help, then let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, also let me know in the comments. If you would like to see step-by-step answers to these challenges, there will be a follow-on video which I will pin in the comments. If you learned something new from this video, or enjoyed it otherwise, please give this video a like and tap that subscribe button for more coding videos.